Krishna. Om Agyan Timirandhasya Jnananjan Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Suvayam Rupam Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Hare Krishna. We are in the third chapter of Bhagwat Gita as it is, and the name of the chapter is Karma Yoga. The name itself specifies how to get back to Yogeshwar Krishna by doing the right kind of actions. Actually speaking, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga are the three different steps of the same ladder. And this ladder is the way which leads us back to Krishna, which is the highest perfection of human life. The section that we are taking in Karma Yoga is from verse number 17 to 30. And in this, Krishna explains to Arjun about Nishkam Karma Yoga, which means having no desires for any material enjoyments and accumulations. And now first let's understand that why Krishna explains to Arjun about Nishkam Karma Yoga. So the reason is this, that in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is known as the summary of Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna explained to Arjun about the Sankhya Yoga and the Buddhi Yoga, which we can say as the path of knowledge and devotion. So then after explaining it to Arjun, Krishna realized that it did not have the right effect on Arjun, as Arjun was still in dilemma, what to do and what not to do. At one moment, Arjun says to Krishna, Shishyasteham Shadimam Tvam Prapannam, which means, O Krishna, I surrender to you as my Guru and I am your student. Now, in the next moment he says, Na Yotsyam iti Govindam, which means, O Govinda, I shall not fight. And then in the second chapter, in shlok number 8, Arjun says, Nahi prapashyami mama panutyat yachokumuchosharam indriyanam avapya bhuma asapatnam riddham rajyam surana mapichadipatyam. Arjun says that he does not see any means to drive away the grief, sorrow, even if he gets the unrivaled kingdom on the earth with wealth, prosperity like of the demigods in heaven. Seeing Arjun's this condition, Krishna, who is the greatest teacher, starts explaining about doing the duties, having no desires of any material gains, which is known as Nishkam Karma Yoga. Krishna, being Rishikesh, understood that Arjun is thinking that when he doesn't want any material things for his happiness, then why does he need to engage himself in the most cruel activity of fighting and killing his own near and dear ones? To answer this doubt in Arjuna's mind, Krishna in verse number 17 and 18 explains about the people who are self-realized and they take pleasure only in their own self by serving Krishna. And such self-realized people never depend on any persons or even demigods for any favors in the material life. And further, Krishna announces that these kind of self-realized people do not have any obligatory duties as other people who have the desires to accumulate and enjoy the material things. Krishna very clearly says that the self-realized people may or may not do any worldly duties, and for this they will not be rewarded or punished, which means they will not get any pap or punya. And these self-realized people are completely free from all the worldly duties
as they are continuously absorbed in the thoughts how to please the Supreme Krishna. But these self realized people might do the worldly duties just to set an example that Krishna devotion does not mean inactivity, which means their work is only meant to teach the people in society how to work, having no desires for any material gain for their own sense enjoyment. So it means that work is absolutely compulsory, which is Krishna going to teach to Arjun in the next shlokas as well. Now, coming to the present verse, that is verse number 19, Krishna lays emphasis on the point that Arjun, you might not want any material happiness like kingdom, wealth, prosperity, but still you have to perform your duty of fighting with your enemies. First, let's recite the shloka and then we will understand the word meanings, translations, and the valuable purport of Srila Prabhupada. Tasmadasaktah satatam karyam karma samachara asakto hyacharan karma paramapnoti purushah. Tasmadasaktah satatam karyam karma samachara asakto hyacharan karma paramapnoti purushah. Word meanings: tasmad, therefore, asaktah, without any attachment, satatam, constantly, karyam, as duty, karm, work, samachar, perform, asaktah, non-attachment, he, certainly, acharan, performing, karm, work, param, the supreme, apnoti, achieves, purushah, a man. Translation: here Krishna says to Arjun that therefore without being attached to the fruits of activities, when is the smad word comes, which means that now Krishna is going to tell the conclusion of all the previous verses. Tasmad, which means therefore. Therefore, without being attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty. For by working without attachment, one attains the Supreme. This is what Krishna tells to Arjun. So whenever the word tasmat comes, it means that now the conclusion of all the previous said things is about to come. Krishna tells to Arjun that you might not want any material gains, but you have to work. And how you must work? You must work without being attached to the fruits of your activities and work continuously by taking your work as only a matter of doing your duties. And further Krishna says that when such work is done, one attains the Supreme Lord. Srila Prabhupada in his purport says that for the devotees, the Supreme Personality of the Godhead is Krishna, and for the impersonalist, it is the way of liberation. So here Srila Prabhupada is giving us the definition of Supreme Lord. He says that for devotees, it is Krishna, and for the impersonalist, it is a way of liberation. Prabhupada says that devotees don't want liberation. They only want to serve Krishna by all their means. And for the impersonalist, they want to free themselves somehow from this material world and want to be one with the Supreme. So we see that a person who is in Krishna consciousness and is working under the guidance of his spiritual master is sure to make progress in the spiritual path and will attain the supreme goal of life, which means serving the lotus feet of Krishna and doing everything only for the happiness of Krishna. This is very important verse, and in this verse Krishna is clearly telling Arjun how he should work. Arjun should fight only because Krishna wants him to fight. And why does Krishna want Arjun to fight? The reason is this, that Arjun was giving his own reasons for not fighting. Arjun said that by killing his kinsmen, he will become a sinner and will be permanently in hell. So basically, Arjun was wanting to become a good man, or we can say a non-violent person. But here in this verse, Prabhupada clearly explains that becoming a good person or a non-violent person can be a personal choice, but to act on behalf of the Supreme Krishna is actually to act without any attachment for the result. Now we understand it very clearly that when Arjun was looking into the results of his act, he did not want to fight, and in this verse, Krishna is telling Arjun to do his work without any attachment for the result. And this kind of work is recommended by the Supreme Lord Krishna himself in this verse. Prabhupada explains us how to work for the happiness of Krishna. So the process is, firstly, the person should be under the guidance of a spiritual master. And secondly, the person should have no attachment with the result of his work. Arjun was not interested at all to fight. And when he was looking into the result of the war, the same Arjun, when he was looking into the result of the war, he did not want to fight. And this same Arjun, when he fought only because Krishna wanted him to fight, he became totally detached with the result of the war, which means Arjun became an instrument for Krishna to execute the war. Let's understand with the example that when we write with a pen or pencil, the pen or pencil is just an instrument for writing, and it does not have any personal desire to write. The pen or pencil does not write on its own. The pencil never says that I have written. Now, this is truly being detached with the result of any work. So, in this verse, Krishna tells Arjun to work only as a matter of duty, and such work is bound to attain the Supreme Krishna, which is the highest perfection in human life. So with the example of pen and pencil, we come to know that pen and pencil, they do not have any personal desire. They are just an instrument. In the same way, we need to become the instrument in the hands of Krishna. In the previous verse, we have seen that the cycle of Yajna Chakra was recommended for those people who are too much interested in enjoying the worldly things like good house, good car, good clothes, good food and good family life. And Arjun never wanted these things and was completely aloof from all the worldly pleasures. So we can say that he was a Nishkam person, but he was not free from the attachment for his family members. So Krishna tells Arjun to fight as a matter of his duty because he is a Kshatriya. And when Arjun fought only because Krishna wanted him to fight, then he automatically became detached with the results of the war. Srila Prabhupada says that any work which is done only for the happiness of Krishna is above the reactions of good or evil work. A Krishna conscious person has no attachment for the result, but he does his work only because Krishna wants him to do. He engages in all kinds of activities but is completely non attached with everything. To sum up this verse, let us quickly revise what Krishna has recommended to Arjun and how can we follow it in our life. Srila Prabhupada says that we should work under the guidance of a spiritual master and have no attachment with the result and must only work as a matter of duty. So these two things are extremely important: to be working under the guidance of the spiritual master and having no attachment with the result. And by doing this, we can also make spiritual progress, which is the sole aim of human life, because only in human life we can realize our own self and make spiritual progress. And if we think that from where we will get the instructions of Krishna, so the answer is this, that Krishna has already given us Bhagwat Gita and our spiritual master Srila Prabhupada. Now we just need to follow the instructions given by Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada's main instructions is to follow the 4 regulative principles, which means no meat eating, no gambling, no illicit relationship, and no intoxication, and chant at least 16 rounds of Maha Mantra daily. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And just by doing this, we will surely be unattached with all the fruits of our actions. Now, in the next verse, Krishna is going to give an example of such a person who is completely detached to the fruits of his actions, yet does all the worldly duties only as his duty and to please Krishna. I thank everyone for attentively listening to Bhagavad Gita shloks, and please do write your comments. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnavon ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,